Welcome to Cast-Designer. Cast-Designer is an upfront design and analysis system for casting process. This presentation is special focus on investment casting field, or called lost wax casting sometimes. So far, Cast-Designer is the sole product in the market today to combine expert system and CAE technology together, and special design for mold planning and casting industrial. Cast-Designer is developed and marketed by C3P Software International Company. Cast-Designer is a useful and powerful system to support designers and engineers make system design and upfront analysis in an express way. Cast-Designer had a package special designed for investment casting process. The major advantages and features of Cast-Designer includes: at first, guided by expert system, Cast-Designer can make casting design in 10 minutes to half hour. The second, Cast-Designer, using last finite element method, it can make upfront analysis for metal filling and solidification. The lead time is only 1 hour to 2 hours for almost cases, includes modeling and simulation. There are two versions of Cast-Designer are available. The standalone software system, based on Open Cascade technology, and another one is fully integrated to the common MCAD system, such as Pro Engineer, Unigraphics NX and SolidWorks. C3P Software developed Cast-Designer, and with very close collaboration with the world top-level industrial partners, research institutes, and universities. Today, in the real business environment, cost, lead time and quality are the major concerns. Control the design stage is the best way to save time and cost, as well as enhance product quality. This is also the start point of Cast-Designer. As we know, 5% design lead time can solve at least 80% quality problem in the future, and bring back the biggest benefits to industrial. We can serve the product designer to improve the original design at very early stage. We also serve the die design engineer to help them select the best solution for manufacturing, such as define the casting solution, design the casting system and optimize it, validate the casting system in simple and express way. Moreover, our solution also provide a more deep and detailed study of the whole casting process for CAE specialists. With Cast-Designer, it is possible to optimize a casting design by detecting the part features with potential metal flow and solidification problems, evaluating riser and chill, gate system, and pouring system design alternatives in the early design stage. Even a novel with limited experience in simulation, who can easier to undertake the design setup in very short period of time. In other words, Cast-Designer for investment casting can help the industry to achieve the target of time to market. Cast-Designer is an efficient 3D CAD tools with expert system, special design for investment casting process. It is an expert system for casting system design to help designers and engineers make a quick design. The designer application includes riser, gating system, pouring system. The design approach of Cast-Designer is much faster and easily when compared with traditional CAD system, and the design of Cast-Designer is fully parametric. Cast-Designer with standard and special data exchanger for 3D CAD system and CAE system. Also, Cast-Designer is easy to learn, it can improve and enhance the design ability and shortly. This is the work process of Cast-Designer for investment casting. At first, when we get an original casting part, we can make a part analysis to understand the thickness distribution and thermal modulus, also check the possible liquid spots in the casting process. The most important is, it can help us to define the location of inner gate. After that, based on the above analysis result, we will design the inner gate and runner. With Cast-Designer's expert system, special for the smart design function, we can simply get a roughly design very quickly. The system can calculate an optimized filling time and inner gate section area. Then, we can make some adjustment of the dimension and shape of the runner and pouring cup, since all design in Cast-Designer are parametric. After that, we can perform a quick simulation for solidification only, to check the dimension or the inner gate and runner sections. Finally, a simulation with full casting system should be carried out to validate both filling process and solidification process. If there are any problems of the result, the design could be corrected in any design phase or stage. Now, we look for the design process of gating system. As said before, Cast-Designer is an expert system with KDE technology. It summarized half-century knowledge and experience of casting process, and provided complete guideline to help designer. The gating system advisor is one of the most useful wizards in Cast-Designer. With such advisor, the designer can get the filling time and inner gate section area based on the casting weight or volume and feature thickness of casting part. Then the user can adjust the numbers and section area of runner and sprue runner. This presentation shows the 3D part base analysis. The casting process result depend many factors, but mainly by part material, geometry, and the process. The 3D part analysis is mainly focused on the part geometry. The build and casting part analysis capability to analysis thickness distribution and identify the thicker region. Usually, the inner gate can be set to such region to avoid porosity problems in the casting process. The analysis result includes part thickness in ray method and 3D thickness level to show the global thick region in different level. The part analysis is purely geometrical base, so it is only a few minutes. Inner gate design. As the above analysis of part geometry, inner gate location could be defined as the thicker region, and also consider the easily DOX process. The gate system design advisor also can help calculate the thermal modules of inner gate. After that, inner gate or runner size also could be evaluated again by a new thickness level analysis for a part with inner gate or runner together. Main tree design is a major feature of investment casting. The parts will attach to the main tree, and the pouring system also based on the main tree. Cast-Designer is the sole system to guide investment casting system design in the market today. The gating system design Modulus could design any complex casting system in full parametric method. Riser, inner gate, runner, main tree runner, and chill could be designed in Cast-Designer. The typical main tree types have been built in the system to simple use. Cast-Designer also support user-defined template, and with flexible function to import and export the template file. Before design the main runner and pouring cup, or main tree in another word, we need make the part layout design at first. Part layout design is necessary for investment casting to increase the production rate. The layout method mainly consider the inner gate and wax process, also need consider the mass distribution and thermal balance in the later. The Smart Designer function is a nickel feature in Cast-Designer. The concept is, we will use the main runner and pouring cup to make the compensation of metal shrinkage in the solidification process. The user only need input the total casting weight, and select the close dimension to the part geometry and layout boundary size, then the system will generate the main runner automatically. The build a knowledge database, with 10-year industrial experience, to balance the yield ratio and casting quality. Both filling and shrinkage porosity are taken account. However, the shape of the main runner and the pouring cup was quite simple, so it is still needs some adjustment in the later to match the real geometry based on the same or similar volume. Since all data in Cast-Designer are full parametric, so the geometry adjustment was so simple and easily. Moreover, Cast-Designer uses very similar interface for all design components, so the work is simple and easy to learn. Cast-Designer support multi-objects and multi-design solutions. The "what you see, what you get" work style helps user to check the design on real time. Also, Cast-Designer with data template concept to import and export data template, also easy to customize. Why we talk about Cast-Designer CPI? The question in industry background is there. Cast-Designer help create a casting system within half hour that is really good. However, the experience and knowledge always face some limitation for new material and process. In this case, who can evaluate my design? Who can tell me which one is the best solution? Physical test is one of the traditional method, even if it wastes time and cost, also difficult for some cases. On the other hand, since 10 years ago, some companies began to use the CAE tools to predict the problems and defects of the casting process. Of course, such method is more advanced, however, it still cannot solve the headache of industrial. The traditional CAE simulation software need a good education background and long-term for self-learning and trial. Also, the project lead time from simulation is longer. Very often, the simulation was done by one CAE specialist, but who do not understand well of design, and the designer cannot receive the answer of simulation immediately to update the design on time. It is far from to the time to market business in today. Cast-Designer CPI was developed and marketed by this background. CPI meaning is Casting Process Insight. Cast-Designer CPI is a powerful tool, integrated in Cast-Designer system, based on the last CAE technology. It can analyze the metal flow, heat transfer, and phase change in casting process, provide an express, flexible and accurate method for casting system validation. With Cast-Designer CPI, the user is easy to select the right solution. When compared with other traditional CAE method, Cast-Designer CPI, based on upfront analysis, and use innovation technology to ensure the result. So far, CPI is the sole really practical method on the marketing today to support casting design, because the high-end technology to reduce modeling time and simulation time to a very reasonable time frame, for example, 2 hours for the first result, We provide very detailed result for the metal filling process, such as metal flow, air entrapment, velocity, vector and pressure. We also provide a detailed result for solidification process, included temperature distribution, cooling rate, liquid or solid fraction, and shrinkage porosity. Cast-Designer CPI can start from CAD or STL mesh file format. It can repair and heal geometry if it is not perfect. The user of Cast-Designer was not asked a CAE knowledge. The learning curve of Cast-Designer is also short. This is an example of Cast-Designer CPI for filling simulation. There are 3 design solutions for an investment casting part. The first one and second one are side filling system but with different design, and the last one was bottom filling system. The red color show the hot liquid metal, and blue color is the air, which still not be filled. All the metal flow, air entrapment, velocity, vector and pressure could be provided by Cast-Designer after the simulation. If we check the metal flow, we can find the last one with the best balance, and the first one and second one were not so good, special for the second one, with a big problem for air entrapment and filling sequence. This is the solidification result, includes temperature distribution, liquid fraction or solid fraction, also the shrinkage porosity, shown in the last image of each model. With this result, we can predict the casting problems and defects easily. The simulation time is very short, all the solutions are less than 2 hours, includes filling and solidification. Now, we look the whole workflow of Cast-Designer. With Cast-Designer, the user is possible to work from CAD data to casting system, then generate the CPI model for simulation, also including the meshing process for both casting and shell, the setup process for casting condition and parameters, and simulation which done by computer. Thanks the powerful Cast-Designer solver, until get the first result, the total lead time of Cast-Designer could be controlled within around 2 hours. This is really breakthrough technology, and big benefits to industrials, to save the time and cost, at very early stage. Meshing is a critical issue for any finite elements analysis software, special for casting simulation. Cast-Designer spent more than 10 years to solve this problem, and now the operation is so simple, and result is very reliable. Today, the meshing of Cast-Designer is fully automatically, no any CAE knowledge is required of user. The size of meshing could be controlled in different direction. Moreover, Cast-Designer supports multi-domains. This is a breakthrough technology in meshing process. With this technology, CAD model need not Boolean operation or assembly operation before meshing. This can save a lots of time for designer. There is also special treatment technology for the defects of CAD model or mesh, such as geometry gap, overlay, intersection or enclose. The coarse mesh technology in Cast-Designer is also unique to treat the thin thickness region to avoid huge model or feature lose, and advanced mesh smoothing technology make the meshing match original CAD and geometry. It is very useful for complex shape, like casting part. Cast-Designer using template and objective concept for CPI setup. This make the setup very simple and easily to make part exchange for an existed CPI model. At first, the user needs to select the casting process such as investment casting. The template for each casting process was defined inside software. Then, the user asked to define the analysis type, it meaning is, filling simulation only, or solidification simulation only, or a couple analysis for filling and solidification. After that, the user can follow the sequence of up to down, left to right, to define the material data, heat transfer condition, and casting speed or pressure. Finally, the parameters, to control the simulation and save result. After that, the CPI model is completed. Cast-Designer with a rich material database, the user can select material from database directly. Also, it is possible to generate the own database and manage it. All defined process conditions and parameters could be saved as user template file and used back at any time. The simulation engine of Cast-Designer, the solver in another word, is very powerful. Based on finite element method, Cast-Designer can perform simulation in fast speed, flexible define and high accuracy. The job submitting interface also supports batch simulation mode to manage multitasks. The post-process of Cast-Designer is very powerful and user-friendly. Our development is based on ParaView platform, so Cast-Designer can handle very big model, and also use the plug-in filter technology in post-process. Same as almost post-process, Cast-Designer can provide rich analysis results in various formats, such as contour, deformation, vector and curves. We also support animation and VRML export for data exchange. We pay a little more attention on the meshing process, since it is always a critical issue and argument between FEM technology and FDM or FVM technology. Cast-Designer is using FEM technology. It is more advanced compared with traditional FDM or FVM method, because the good geometry description, better formula, full couple simulation, and flexible memory management, all above are very important for casting. The displayed example is a Cast-Designer mesh with only 87,364 elements, but still good enough for geometry description. The same part also meshed in the finite different mesh method. This method is quite simple in calculation, but it is not flexible for the complex geometry, and easy to cause energy loss in the curve edge. For example, in this case, the mesh with 268,576 elements, it is around 4 times than the CPI mesh, but the geometry description was still much bad than the FEM approach. In other words, it need much more CPU time for the simulation. There is a major feature of investment casting: the volume ratio of gate system to the total casting is very high. Normally, more than 50%. From the simulation point, a lot of elements will be wasted if we select the uniform mesh. However, due to the complex casting geometry, it is not easy to set a multi-level mesh size in FDM or FVM method to save the model. Cast-Designer developed a unique technology to generate the multi-levels mesh for casting and heat-drawn mesh. This is a breakthrough technology in the market today. With this technology, the elements in the gating and runner can be reduced around 4 times, and the result was still similar. The operation of such multi-level mesh was very simple, only a few clicks, and suitable to any complex geometry. Shell generation is also important for investment casting process. Since the casting shell is very important for heat transfer, radiation, and solidification process. The shell generation is fully automatically in Cast-Designer, and only need input some simple parameters from industrial, such as shell thickness, gravity direction. If the analysis is symmetry model, the shell generation also can be symmetry model, to save model size. The shell mesh could be generated as casting part mesh together. Generate the investment mesh, includes casting part and shell, was so simple and quickly, in Cast-Designer. Usually a few minutes, to 10 minutes maximum. This allows the designers and engineers pay more time to the design than the simulation process. Another important factor of investment casting is the view factor and enclosure generation. This is quite different from other casting process. For high-temperature process, like investment casting, the heat radiation, and the affection of shell and enclosure, must be taken account in. As the experience and industrial validation, it is so important, and it must be well modeled. The view factor and shadow factor always change the solidification result, such as shrinkage porosity. In fact, even if no physical enclosure, the factory roof and wall is also a big enclosure. So it is strong recommended. Let's look one example of investment casting. The left one is a simulation without take account the view factor. So the cooling rate was more uniform and did not find defects in solidification. The right one is a simulation which has taken account the view factor. So the cooling rate in the red circle region was a little slow due to the shadow factor, and we can see it will cause defects in the later. This is the result of shrinkage porosity. Same as the above discussion, there is no defects in solidification, but it is not true in the real part. There was some porosity existed in the red circle region. The right one has taken account the view factor. We can find the shrinkage porosity existed in the casting part due to the affection of view factor. This result was same as the actual casting part. So, this is clear, for investment casting, view factor was so important, and must be considered, and well modeled in the simulation. This is an example of Cast-Designer CPI for filling simulation. The red color show the hot liquid metal, and blue color is the air, which still not be filled. All the metal flow, air entrapment, velocity, vector and pressure could be provided by Cast-Designer after the simulation. We also can focus on a region to have a detailed analysis of the filling process in the post-process. We can find some air entrapment existed on this part. This is the solidification result, includes temperature distribution, liquid fraction or solid fraction. With this result, we can predict the casting problems and defects easily. Also the temperature distribution of the shell and hot liquid pocket on the casting process in the X-ray method. The full Cast-Designer system includes several Modulus, which could be a complete solution, or selected alone as subsystem. The major Modulus includes, the first one is Cast-Designer Basic, which is an expect system for riser, gadding system design. The second one is Cast-Designer CPI. Cast-Designer CPI is an upfront analysis system for metal flow and solidification analysis to support decision-make of casting system, bases on the last CAE technology and time economic method. The third one is Cast-Designer Tools. Some special tools to support casting system design, such as cast zone and wall thickness analysis, it is optional. There is also another Modulus, Cast-Designer for MCAD, and Cast-Designer CPI for MCAD. This Modulus allow integrate Cast-Designer and Cast-Designer CPI to MCAD system. The support system includes Pro Engineer of PTC, Unigraphics NX of Siemens, and SolidWorks of Dassault system. Regards the MCAD system, Cast-Designer could be built in the existed CAD system, such as Pro Engineer of PTC, Unigraphics NX of Siemens and SolidWorks of Dassault system. With this feature, the user can work in the familiar working environment, to reduce the learning time, for another software system. Also, no data transfer problems. The system will handle all the data exchange, to avoid any data lose. Another function, which only available in the MCAD version is, the data management capability. It helps the user to manage the data version and model version. So, thank your attention of Cast-Designer for investment casting. Please record our website for more detailed information. You also can contact us, or our authorized worldwide sales network, for more details. It is our pleasure. If Cast-Designer can help you to improve your work, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you.